Now, our next presenter is going to be Mr. Dean Sharp. Dean Sharp has over 40 years of public utility and public works experience, including construction, operations, management, and administration of public water and wastewater systems. He has been a certified water and wastewater operator for over 32 years, assists the TCEQ FMT program, conducts project inspections for the Texas Water Development Board funded projects, provides technical assistance, and conducts water system plan review, project management, and construction oversight. Mr. Sharp has been involved in developing the Texas AWWA High School Training Program, SEF, for high school students to complete the Basic Water Operator Training course and acquire their Class D Water Operator licensing through TCEQ upon successful completion of the course and passing the exam. Please welcome Mr. Dean Sharp.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Man, she can talk fast, can't she? It's good. So I'm going to do a brief introduction of our panelists today. We're going to talk primarily about operator retention and incentives and things to help retain your operators. Talk a little bit about our SEF program. You heard me at the opening session talk about our SEF program in detail, and we do have a booth 90 downstairs if you want more detail on that. But real quickly, I want to introduce our panel. Mr. Matt Woodard. Matt is Public Works Director for the City of Manor. He's got a long storied history in water and wastewater. Started out in the Parks Department and then got snatched up by the water utilities and been there ever since. AA operator, and he's, like I said, over in Manor now. Jeff Strickland. Jeff is also a operator. He's with the North Texas Municipal Water District, and they're doing some creative things up there that I want Jeff to share with y'all today. Jeff's also BPAT and has a long history with Texas Water Utilities Association. Jacqueline Knobloch. Jacqueline is with the Texas Rural Water Association, and she oversees their apprenticeship program. And we want to hear more about that. For those of you that haven't heard about that program, it is very beneficial for younger operators to come in and really start their advancement and advance into a career and really take great strides in advancing very quickly. And then Mr. Dennis Hendricks. Dennis is actually working on his A's, so he's actively pursuing that. Dennis is one of the managers with Crossroads Utilities, one of our private operations groups here in the Central Texas area. You may have heard me mention this morning about the program in Pflugerville, the Summer Academy that takes high school students that have either just recently graduated high school or juniors coming into their senior year. And between Dennis and his wife, Tracy, who is the Career Technology Education Director there for Pflugerville High School, they developed that model, the academy, and this year was the 4th year. And we've seen some real successes there. And so real quick, funny story. So one of our students that went through the Summer Academy just this past June, so he gets his Class D water license, and as part of the academy, some of the local utilities come in and they'll do interviews. We call them mock interviews, but they're really not mock interviews because these people are really actively looking for these young people. So just found out today that Matt lost out on Sergio and Dennis won out. They were both in the process of hiring a young man that just came out of the academy, and Dennis won out. So that just goes to show you there's a little bit of competition there.
Well, the difference is being a private organization, we're able to move a little bit faster than a regular city's organization. So if there's any HR folks in here,
please listen up.
I would highly encourage you to increase your process speed. Because you're going to lose out on operators as long as we're in the business and we're hiring.
Yeah. So I think it's a good segue into the first question is, what is your organization doing to reach out to the younger generation and make them aware of water careers in the public water sector? And so I'll let you go first, Matt.
I was fortunate. I retired with the city of Pflugerville, so I was actually able to meet up with Dennis and his wife and start the skills trade program with them. And then going forward with that, the Seth program. So I've been very fortunate to be able to tie into the Pflugerville School District. And when I made the transition over to the city of Manor, I've been working with their CTE director, and we're trying to get that currently enrolled into the city of Manor ISD. So we're actively going to the high schools, trying to recruit, especially with our guys. Our personnel is trying to reach out as much as especially with we were fortunate to hire 2 from the Skills Trade Academy out of the last 4 years. And believe it or not, that's a connection too, because those kids talk. And we've been able to, and I just keep thinking about that one that we just lost. I just literally found out that we didn't get Sergio while we walked in. So it's kind of a bummer. And I do want to reiterate, if there's any HR out here, please help us out. Sometimes it could be our worst enemy when you know that those guys are they're looking for a job. They're looking for a career. And when we miss out on probably somebody that could have been there for 20, 25 years. So with that, everything else that we try to recruit, we even try to go to the elementary schools very early on and try to show them what we do. So with that, I guess kind of a joint effort.
Jeff, you got anything to add to that? What are y'all doing?
One of the things that we've started doing too, we've got some small plants in some small communities. And usually, if you can hire one kid straight out of high school, he's gonna tell his buddies about it. So that brings them in, just the word of mouth. And then something I've been doing the last few years, kind of thinking outside the box, do a couple of presentations a year for the local community college. And those professors will call you up and they say, they may have someone in the welding group, in the welding principal or plumbing. They say, hey, we got a kid that needs a job. And, there's nothing they can place them in right then, but we bring them in the water operator. I actually hired one through doing that a few years ago, and he was a welder, and he's been an operator now for going on, 3 to 5 years. It made a really good operator. So that's just some of the things that we're doing different.
Good. Anything to add, Jacqueline?
I'd say with you reaching the schools in your local areas, find an organization that's possibly statewide that can help in those efforts. Because I can go statewide. I spend between January and April nonstop at career fairs. And one thing we do when we enter those career fairs is we do focus on water operators, but we're also focusing on all the other careers within our industry because that would appeal to others as well. And so we try to cover everything within our sector and offer those as career pathways.
Good. And so, Jacqueline, just maybe segue just a little bit into your work with Workforce Solutions and some successes you're seeing there.
Yeah, so since we're a statewide organization, I go to the different 28 boards we have in the state that are Texas Workforce Commission, and they pass us down to Workforce Solutions, and so we build those relationships with all boards across the state. And so they have those connections with ISDs, they send out their career dates, and so it's a good pathway to get connected with the schools and pass on this information through Workforce Solutions and Workforce Commission.
Dennis, anything else?
Well, we had talked about the skilled trades a little bit, and I'm very fortunate. I was married to the CTE director, still am, married to the CTE director of Pflugerville, and so we had dinner talk, and we sat around the dinner table for 10 years figuring out, how are the Army and Marines able to do a great job of their recruiting, and our industry is dying. And so we were able to take advantage of opportunities, actually a grant that came down to one of the high schools within the area, and we launched the Skilled Trades Academy. We are just one of 7 partners inside of the Skilled Trades Academy. That is, we really focus 100% on reaching the high school students. We like the ones that are graduating without a appointed goal as to what they're going to do after post-secondary, but then with the help of the legislation, we were able to get some support of going in and getting a provisional license with our juniors. We found a little bit of difficulty there as to having a junior go through the program, get their certification. Keeping them engaged while we're waiting for them to graduate has been a little bit of a challenge. We're working through those, but the organization, or actually the program, was built on a model of just 2 entities. and pretty sure that everybody in the room has those two entities, which is your utility district and your school. That's all it is. It takes those two, and you can build your workforce utilizing this model that we've been successful using. So it is. We got to think outside the box. They talked in the meeting room earlier that the water is today is the same as dinosaur pee that started off in the earth. And I like to tell folks there's going to be a day that they're going to go into a museum and there's going to be a T-Rex and there's going to be a utility operator because we're a dying breed. And so I tell the high school students we're a dying breed. So if you want a guaranteed job that's going to support not only your goals for today, but also we're making generational changes with our students. These students are able to come in, learn a career path. Jacqueline mentioned we all know which directions the water utility goes, and so we're able to make those generational changes just by offering these students this career path.
And I think you make a good point there, Dennis, in keeping the students engaged. If you do implement a high school program and you include the juniors, it's very important that you as a utility engage those students between that senior year and through their senior year, internships, apprenticeships, whatever you want to call it, but opportunities for those students to actually understand what we do and be involved so that they continue to be engaged through their senior year, and then they come out of there and now you're on a path to growing one of your own. So great, appreciate that. So Jeff, what's some incentives that y'all have incorporated into retaining operators at various levels?
Well, we do a license incentive. Each level license, it's a yearly incentive. Which the D license doesn't pay any, but a C, they get $600 a year for that. B is $900 a year, and then an A is $1,800 a year. So offer those incentives. Also got a pretty healthy incentive for working night shift. That was one of our main struggles, was keeping that night shift filled. We're up to like $2.50 an hour on nights, and actually that's been an interesting turn because here a month or so ago we needed to bring some operators on days. We couldn't get any volunteers because those guys on nights were making enough money they wanted to stay there. And then something we've really started pushing the last year is working on a competency program with some clearly defined career path, and that is helping. And also just some optimization programs that we're in. They've got that incentive to be a part of something, and whenever they're engaged and involved, that seems to make them want to stay as well.
Yeah.
They've got something to work for.
Yeah, so you created a solution that's developed into a problem now with trying to get them to work during the daytime. And so that kind of leads into some of the incentives, Jacqueline, through the apprenticeship program for younger people, younger operators to really begin to take major steps in advancement in their careers.
So I know most systems probably offer a wage increase with the different licenses they obtain. But I will say through the apprenticeship program, because they are being held accountable to the processes they are learning, there is someone behind them ensuring that they pass those exams, secure that information from the mentor. There are wage increases built inside the apprenticeship as skills and licenses are obtained. And this goes along with what you were saying, that they feel like they're a part of something. They are in a structured program obtaining these licenses while there is a wage increase guaranteed for them. So those are incentives kind of built inside through the Department of Labor as one of their requirements for apprenticeship.
Good.
Dean, let me add, the one thing, the money is always a benefit. Folks always want to make more money, but one things that we found over at Crossroads is, and even working through the skilled trades program, is people want to be challenged. We get a lot of operators that, they go to the plant and they do the same thing over and over and over, which is great. There's nothing wrong with those folks, but with the model that we've created inside of what we do is most of our folks are dual certified, so they carry both water and wastewater licenses, and we do cross training. We give the new folks the ability to come in, new operators the ability to come in, learn a side of it, and go over and work at a plant and learn a wastewater plant. and then go to, some of them want to move out of the wastewater plant and move to the larger water plant. So we give them opportunities to cross-train. Not only does it give them the ability to increase their skills, it gives us as the employer the kind of the backbone and some resiliency on our operation. So when we go into the emergency times where we've got to get folks at the plant and get folks all over the place, with us how big as we are and spread out as we are, we're able to place those operators inside of those facilities and not have that workforce issue because they are licensed, they're able to do that. So being able to do the cross training, I would tell you, it's not as difficult on the private side of the world. It seems to be a little more difficult on the public side of allowing your folks to both be engaged in the water and the wastewater side of things.
So Matt, you've got one of your younger employees, Noah, that's involved in the apprenticeship program. Has been for what, a year now or so?
Yes, sir, about a year.
And so what do you see benefits both for him as an operator, but also for you as a water system?
It's been very beneficial. Noah has done really well. He's right off the bat when he got out of the skills trade program, the Seth program, we were also able to give him a little bit more of a bump in a pay right off the bat because he has a license instead of someone that comes right straight off the workforce or won't, not with no license at all. And it was so fortunate that Noah got to get with TRWA, get in their apprenticeship program, and he's really excelled. He's fast tracking. He's gonna excel some of the guys I have right now, and it's actually making them a little jealous. And I also gave them, hey, you can always still sign up for their apprenticeship program. So it's also got him engaged to where he's when he first started with the city of Manor, they went through the water class for their D. But it's amazing to see these kids, when they go through the program, they see the wastewater plant. And they actually get to see the biological process. You get to see what it looks like coming in, what it looks like coming out, and it really engages the students. And believe it or not, that it's been very successful just showing them the wastewater plant and the process alone. But thinking of also the progress that we also incentivize for the guys is we start out as operator 1, then they go from a C to an operator 2, and then for a B, you go to an operator 3, and that's different levels of pay. So it's very beneficial, and it attracts those guys to go for their licenses so they can get more money. So yeah, I can't thank enough for the TRWA's apprenticeship program, and touching on a little bit of being City of Manor, we're still small, I say, but we're growing really fast. So we really still have to do all of it, which is great because all of my guys, they're engaged in every little bit of the jobs. They're not stuck on one thing. Some of the guys in the wastewater plant are stuck kind of doing one thing at a time, but they're also still having to go run parts, or they're still actually going to have to go do a water leak, or they're still going to have to go check on meters, turn on, turn offs. We actually acquired, our meter is a little different in Manor, where the meter techs are actually with the utility building, and they stay over there. I'm used to the meter department being underneath the utilities, but actually the guy that they had over there wanted to come where we're at so he could actually learn a little bit more. And now he's my MS4 and / inspector. So we just do a little bit of everything, and that's one thing I always learned is if the guys are still engaged, they're still learning, that keeps them going. Usually when they get repetitive, that's when they start getting stuck, and then the problems start happening. So I always want to try to advance them as much as I can, get them classes I can, and continue to make them grow, let them grow.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so Dennis or Jeff, either one, what are some of the methods, if you will, that you have in the workplace to make it exciting for your employees, that they want to come to work?
So, one, everybody knows an operator wants to be fed. I mean, to really get an operator to do anything, you got to feed them. We kind of go above and beyond. Our folks get fed every Friday. And so we bring them in, we feed them. But we also, as an organization, we try to have individual groups. I look around the room, I'm very blessed. I've got just about every division of our company represented here today. And so our maintenance group, they put together little joint ventures. They go out and they do some paintballing, and they do some couple of fishing trips. So Our operations group, they do the same thing. It's fishing trips. We've done paintball together. And so it's really getting out of the mindset that these are just employees and understand that your employees probably spend more time working for you and at doing what you ask than they do of their families. And so when we get to the point of understanding our employees as really family and our extended dysfunctional family at times, because we all have those dysfunctions, but really start engaging with the folks as a human being rather than just an asset. And sometimes it takes dollars. We all put our budgets together, and there's nothing to say that you can't start putting a few dollars into your budget to do some after-hour extracurricular. We take our employees to the ball game. We're fortunate that we have a baseball team in town. It's the Express. They're related to the Rangers, which is hard to call them a baseball team. But we do a Express night, and we take our employees out to a baseball game and just really enjoy life with them outside of work. And so we found that kind of keeps them more engaged and excited to come to work rather than, just come in, do their job, collect a paycheck, go home, rinse and repeat.
It's a little different for us. Like I said, we're a public company, so sometimes it's hard to use taxpayer dollars for things, but we do. They're giving inclement weather. We put food at the plants for the guys to cook on the grill or something, so they've got stuff there. They don't have to leave. Just keeping everybody engaged, letting them do something different, especially at our outer facilities. Something we've started doing is we'll utilize some plant mechanics at one facility at another plant. Let them help do the winterization or work on projects together. Build some teamwork there. Let them see something different. And even at our larger plants, we're able to move operators around to different plants and let them work different areas. And I think that really helps. But something I have found big over the years is you can recognize your employees, and the employees really, really appreciate that. But when they do something, have a major milestone, get a higher license or something, and you recognize them, do it through an email and include some of your executive staff on there, where they see you're thinking enough of them to let the people above you know as well. And I think that goes a long ways.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point. Celebrate those victories as you can, and do that in front of your council, your board, your whatever, and recognize those operators when they hit those milestones, because it really does mean something. And Jacqueline, you could see a lot of different utilities and work with them and everything. What's some of the things that you hear maybe from some of the younger employees in the apprenticeship program? What excites them about being in this profession?
I think what I hear the most is that they found a place where they are helping their communities, they have found purpose, and it doesn't take long to find that. With them coming into the water industry, most of them, like us in the room, did not plan into going to water straight out of high school. But when they come into it, it only takes a short amount of time, they find purpose. And so I think that's what I hear the most, is that this is a satisfying and fulfilling career if they can find it, and that's where we come in, of making sure they know that this is a career option.
Yeah. So, I heard recently that one of our water system officials said that one of the things they do to look for operators is when they go into Walmart, they look to the younger people and they talk to them about going into the water profession, or would you be interested in going into a profession similar to this? And so, Matt, what would you say maybe to someone young or old that trying to convince them to come in and try this as a career?
I've actually done that. Yeah. I've actually gone into the Home Depots. I've gone into Taco Bell. I've gone to several places. When I see somebody that's hustling and really wanting to show what they're doing and they're working hard and they look dedicated, it's usually one of my first things. Hey, would you like to have a job? The only thing that I would really highly advise, I know hopefully this is appropriate, but just make sure they don't like to partake in some recreational stuff, because sometimes you'll go get them all excited to get a job, but then they can't pass the exam to get in, So it's very important to make sure you tell them up front, hey, this is a career. It's not just a job. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important. One of the important things that we want to relay to our operators is that this is a career opportunity. This is not just a job. This is really a good opportunity for you to make a career. And so how many municipalities do we have here? Okay, we got quite a few. So a lot of municipalities, your retirement system, maybe 20 or 25 years. If you think about that, if I thought about this when I was a high school senior and I got into the profession when I was 18, 19 years old, you get my 20 in, I can retire. Wow. But you say that to an 18 or 19-year-old, what are they going to say? Like, I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in putting 20-inch wheels on my truck, rather than looking for retirement. But I think that we, as a profession too, we need to call out the fact that there are many benefits. Aside from, the pay, there are benefits and things like that we'd like to offer.
One thing that we always like to add, the private side, I usually can throw the money at them, but we can always throw them the benefits, the retirement, and everything. Is one day you're going to get older. You're going to need insurance. You're going to need your medication. So that's one thing that I think when you're young, you don't really think about that. You're just thinking of the dollar. But usually what I try to tell the kids too is that, it's a career. A lot of the younger kids that are coming out, they expect they were going to make $100,000 coming right out of high school. And I have to kind of tell them, hey, it just takes a little bit of time. You got to get your licenses, and then you will start making good money later on. And I was actually fortunate. I started at 19 with the city of Pflugerville, and I was able to retire there with 28 years, and now I'm going to enjoy, refreshed what I'm doing and then starting it all over with the city of Manor.
Yeah. Jeff, you had something to add?
Yes, there's a lot of simple things you can do too that does not require a lot of effort. I've always said, you need to ride for the brand yourself. I haven't been a uniformed employee in I don't know how many years, but still wear my district hat to work. I've had conversations with people, like you said, at Taco Bell, Whataburger, even hired some people and done interviews, the people I met there. They asked you about, hey, you work out there, do you like it, blah, blah, blah. So, that always works. And when you get these younger employees in, because a lot of them are just looking for a job, when you get them, tell them the story of how you got started. That seems to go a long ways, and don't miss what's sitting right there in front of you. I tell my kids about what I do at work. I've been to career days at their school, and your kids will tell other kids, especially when they're graduating and they're all looking for jobs. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of really simple things that you can do that has a big impact.
Yeah, and you make a good point that, tell your story. That's truly something that you should do, is tell your story to these operators, to these students, because we all have a story, right? Some of us have the gift of gab and some of us don't, but we can still tell our story. And so I think it's important that you share that, especially whenever there's interest in what we do each and every day. And I think too, again, Dennis, you've incorporated this into the academy, is providing those site tours and the opportunities to go and talk to those operators that are on site and get them to explain what they're doing. That not only does that make your current operator feel that they are engaged, that they're a part of your organization, but you also get to share those stories with the students.
Yeah, as part of the school programs, just with the way that the timeline works out, we all know, and TCQ forgives me, TCQ's slow. And so the way that we've developed this program, because they need the full 30 days to review an application and all, our students go through the course for the first week and a half of a 4-week program. After that, we're really just waiting on TCEQ and the timeline to kind of pass. And so we incorporated site tours. Each and every one of our students, they go to wastewater plants, they go to the well sites, they go to elevated sites, they go to lift stations. We bring in some vendors, we do pipe bursting, we do hydrant hysteria through some of our city partners. And so what we've found, and it's not surprising, just because us in the operations world are great and we're passionate about what we do, but allow your operator to express their passion to other folks. So take your council members out to the plants and let them see it. Because those council members have kids, have nephews, have grandkids. They're going to talk about it. Take some of your important folks that you're partnered up in the city, take them to the site so that they can see what you're doing and allow your operator to express their passion of what they do on a day-to-day basis to somebody else. And you'll be amazed at the outpouring of understanding that you'll get from those council members, directors, city leaders, being able to hear what the operator has said, and they can tell the passion. Because we like to talk, me more than others, like to talk, but we've got to find ways to grow. And each and every one of you guys have a testimony. You have a knowledge, you have a skill set, you have an understanding. I say guys, please understand that means ladies as well. But we all have a process and the understanding of what we do on a day-to-day basis that we can share to anybody at any given time. We just got to be bold enough to do that.
And I think one of the things too that we need to do a better job of as utilities is engaging those elected leaders for them to truly understand that, hey, you know, I can't hire an operator, whether they're a high school student or a young adult or whatever, because I'm competing with Buc-ee's. You know, Buc-ee's pays more than I can start my operator out at. And the only way that Austin Water Utility got that changed is presenting that to the council. So then their minimum pay scale went up. So you got to engage your elected leaders as well. But I think a good point is that make them aware of what you do. Many of these elected officials don't have a clue what we do day in and day out. The general public doesn't have a good idea of what we do day in and day out. So we need to do a better job of educating. So Matt, what advice do you have for our audience members to help them develop their own practices for growing and retaining operators?
You know, a lot of things go through my mind is definitely get into the schools to be able to track those young adults to get in. I'm very fortunate with the City of Manor. They've got such a culture there that the employees, they really do look after each other. They work really good with each other, and they're all in a common ground of wanting to get the job done. I think it starts kind of in-house, making sure your infrastructure is all happy. And I've noticed that most of the time when the employees are working hard and doing a great job, they're happy. So, appreciate it.
Jeff?
Find out why your employees are staying and find out why your employees are leaving. Don't be afraid to solicit feedback. That's the best advice I could give.
Jacqueline, anything on that?
Not really, but I would like to put a plug in here if that's okay.
There you go.
Okay, so on the training side and keeping it exciting and things like that, and what we can do is what's keeping our employees. One of the things that we've brought into training our employees is actually virtual reality. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but those are some things that we're utilizing with technology. And the reason I say that is because our younger generations, they are interested in that technology. So if we can continue to find what ways they learn, find things that are of interest, what they know, because we can say what we're doing now is working, and it might be working, but it may not be what's appealing to the younger generation of how they would like to see that process done. So keeping that in mind of just staying current with what the next generation is looking at as far as work processes and how they learn is what we need to do as employers and keeping them engaged.
And that's a good idea. And I know, Jacqueline, you told me about the virtual reality on turning down a fire hydrant and how that was just real life with there, and you don't even physically have to have a fire hydrant to be able to do that. But go ahead.
Going to add like chlorinator systems, pumps, things like that before they get in the field and put their safety at risk. Go ahead and let them train in a different way that they're actually familiar with. It's just one of the benefits of that. But I want to say, if you want to stop by our booth, I actually have a set up. So come try it yourselves and give me some feedback.
There you go. Take that opportunity. So, Dennis, your comments on, for our audience members on trying to develop methods for attracting and retaining operators?
Yeah, so attracting is, I mean, we've said it. You've got to get into the schools. You've got to make time, get in there. Don't allow the other trades, because they're in there. You know, as my wife being the director, I can tell you that, you know, the electrical trades, which my son is in, the plumbing trades, the welding trades, the military, they're all going after the same group of students we're going after. And they understand that that's the future. So once you get an operator, it's allow them to set their path. You know, you may have that operator that just wants to come in, do their job, 7 to 4, 8 to 5, you know, whatever the shift may be, and that's fine. But find out what they want to do. Find out what their career is. Not everybody wants to get up here and talk about, you know, our utility industry like we do. But really engage with your staff on helping them develop their career plan. If they come to you and they say, I'm good, I'm just here to collect my retirement so that I can retire from the city and come over to the private world and make some dollars, that's fine. If the operator is, look, I want to make this, I want to be in your spot, by God, I want to teach them how to be in my spot, because there's going to be a day that I'm not going to be in my spot. And so we really need to allow the employees and the folks that represent us on an everyday basis, allow them to set their path. We don't need to set their path for them. We need to give them those opportunities.
Yeah, so, you know, there's other professions that actually do a pretty good job of going in high schools and getting these industry-based certifications for students. We talked about plumbing, we talked about welding, electrical, cosmetology, and even some high schools now have floral programs where kids get certified to be a florist. Why can't we do that? Why can't we go in and make them aware of the opportunities that we have? And I reiterate that this is not just a job, it's a career, it's a profession. I mean, look around you, and we're in a room full of water professionals. And so I know that we can do a better job of making younger people aware of it. So I guess we still have plenty of time. Okay, so I'd just like to have all of you maybe give some closing comments as to the wave of the future and keeping our profession alive and well.
I guess in closing, I'd say that with the SETH program, the efforts on the Skilled Trades Academy, those are so important to start in the high school. That's where we can start building our strong pipeline. But be sure to have a continued career pathway as well. And so that's going to take organizations, partnerships, resources. And so be open to researching those or coming to someone that may point you in the right direction. And so that would be something I'd like to close with is we're all here with the same goal in mind. And so we all may have a different approach or a different resource we can offer. And so be open to that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, skilled trades is a passion of not only mine but my wife's, and we've committed to making ourselves available to each and every school district across the state. You know, I've been fortunate enough to have these presentations with her in 4 different education conferences. In the 4 years that we've done this is the first time I've been able to talk to my peers, my utility and water and wastewater operators, about the successes we've had in the skilled trades. And so I'm committed to you guys. I'm committed to your organization to be made available to help y'all walk through developing this program. Like I said, it's simple. You've already got it in your communities. All we've got to do is just help you guys refine it and come together. And so, but you've got to make time. You've got to make time to develop the future.
We've talked about money quite a bit, and that's probably used to be the most important thing, is being able to pay these operators enough. But trend that I'm really starting to see, and I think a lot of y'all are too, and it's one that's going to be hard to fix. It's hard to get an answer for, and it's hard to have an answer that works for everybody in the same way. But the work-life balance piece is really getting huge. I mean, operators now coming in on interviews, they're not asking about the money near as much as they are the culture and the time off and what that looks like. And I think that's something that as a utility we're really going to have to get ahead of and figure out how to make that work.
That was pretty good. I don't know how I'm going to top that one. So I concur what they say is it's got to start in the schools. Got to promote within. I think the resources, human resources is a huge thing. Definitely a path for their career to grow. That's the hugest thing. And you're right. They want to do what's right, and they do want to do something for the community. So let them grow, let them learn, and whatever we can do is get the word out, and then do our best of our job to try to show the younger adults, this is a career path, this is a good job, and this is something that you can sustain on and live on.
Very good. And, we make an investment in our operators as we go along. We're investing in their training. We're investing in their opportunity to advance in their career. And so we want to make sure that we get some return on our investment, right? And that's, number one, finding good quality employees. And then number two, let's take care of them. That work-life balance, as you say, and you kind of working as a family, whether it's dysfunctional or not, working as a family, because, we've all been there. You've all been in those situations where you're working deep in the night or through the night or whatever it may be, and that guy that's next to you, after a while you become pretty good buddies, and so I think that we need to be able to show all of them that we appreciate them, we appreciate what they do, and hopefully your community will do that as well in return. So I appreciate your time. Thank you. I think we'll all be around most of the afternoon if you have any other questions. Malcolm, you had,
Yes, when you were talking about going to some of these places to round up, or get attentions of people, best time to do it is around graduation when the students are getting ready to graduate from high school. And I believe Hamilton did this. He took a bunch of them at a high school, loaded them up on a bus, a school bus, that belongs to the school, took them out to a water or wastewater plant, plus handed them applications about maybe taking a test for a D license. And he taught a group of them over there at Huddle at his place. And I don't know after that if they passed or not, but they get them really involved and go after it and hope to work for a place like you, Jeff, because that's a political subdivision of the state with pension and juicy benefits, besides a small town if whatever they chose to want to work at. But that was one way how he got a bunch of them that got involved in water or wastewater, and just taking a D test, which doesn't require, I don't know how much requirements at a plant or something, but read and study it and take a test.
Yeah, so one of the keys that I've found is that you developing your own model. Dennis, they've got a great model going there. We've already heard of other models that communities' water systems are implementing. So I think it boils down to whatever works for you and your school district is the best approach to take.
A little bit of problem with the wastewater is because of the smell and the sludge and all of that, besides the water treatment plant or surface water plant.
Right. I think we're out of time. Thank y'all.